with the announcement that the Kansas City Chiefs will have fans present, and I believe other NFL teams who will likely make the same announcement, would you go to games? And I think, by the way, you're going to have an option. I know several different colleges in the Big 12 and the SEC and the ACC, I believe, will also have fans present and will make that clear in the days and weeks ahead, at least that is their plan. Would you go? I just said going to break that I 100% would go. Danny G, would you go right now based on everything you know?
Hell yeah. I mean, I would wear a Dodgers mask and have some hand sanitizer in my front pocket, but yeah, not
even think twice.
Not even think twice. No, a big part of why it hasn't felt like summer has been that I haven't spent even one day inside Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, I think a lot of people miss baseball, not necessarily because, I mean, obviously the games are going on and we're going to come up on a halfway through the season for many different teams. I was saying earlier, Dodgers have played already 24 games, so by this weekend they will officially be halfway through the season. I know obviously there are exceptions when you look at the Marlins or you look at the Cardinals, for instance, but in theory, today we're going to have every single Major League Baseball team playing for the first time since the season initially began. And I'm with you. I'd 100% go to a baseball game right now. I'd go to a football game. Dub, would you go?
If I can tailgate at Auburn University, I'm going to the game. So, absolutely. I'm assuming if they're going to have
Zero
fans,
doubt. Like your expectation at this point is, as a big Auburn fan, with the SEC schedule out, which we're going to get to maybe a little bit at the top of hour 2, you would 100% go to an Auburn football game this fall.
1,000%, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, by the way, do you like the idea of keeping the Iron Bowl on Thanksgiving week, even if it's not the last week of the season now?
Yeah, I was actually really happy with that decision because I think most importantly it needs to be on the Thanksgiving weekend, not just the Iron Bowl, but all the classic rivalry games in the SEC and in the country, and they did a good job of that with the scheduling. I know it's not the last final game, but I think that's more important of a factor than it being the last game.
I'm excited as a Tennessee fan who loses to Florida every single year. I'm excited that they moved the Florida-Tennessee game to the final week of the season. It's now December 6th, and so to me, that's really exciting because I hope it's going to be freezing in Tennessee and all the Florida players who come rolling into town, and that game could have some significance in the SEC. We'll get to that in a minute when we start off hour 2 of the program. But what about you, Brian Finley? Would you go to a game?
Oh, Clay, I would definitely go. And like Danny G, I would wear a mask and just have something to, wash my hands. You saw that infamous picture in, was it 1918, the Spanish flu? When
they played college football and everybody was there. It's Georgia Tech game, I think, that they had the picture of.
Yeah, now I might, on top of the mask, need to wear a blindfold when watching my Ole Miss Rebels play football this season. But beyond that, I'm super stoked.
What about you, Roberto? Would you go?
Oh, man, 1,000%, man. We've been taking our daughter to Dodger Stadium. She was like about a year and a half.
Yep.
We've been dying to take her, man. Definitely. Definitely wear my cargo shorts and my flip-flops and have plenty of hand sanitizer ready and my mask there. And, yes, definitely, man. That's what I miss about this summer. It doesn't feel like summer because we haven't been able to go to Dodger Stadium this year.
Now, we're going to have the cardboard cutout, so maybe that'll be a pale approximation of it. All right, so let's go take some of your calls. Unanimous. I'm also going to put this up, by the way, as a poll question to start off the second hour of the radio program. So if you want to go vote yourself and you're not able to get through 877-996-6369, you can do so. I'm curious whether or not you would go to a sporting event with news that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to have crowds present for the start of the NFL season. Who's up first, Dub?
We got Doug in Indiana.
Doug, would you go?
Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, would you go?
I would. Oh, in a heartbeat. I mean, no questions asked. Nothing's changed for me, and believe it or not, I bought Notre Dame Clemson tickets earlier this year, and of course they canceled and already refunded me the money, but that hasn't changed my perspective on going to a game at all.
Yeah, thanks for the call. I mean, I think if you look at the mortality tables, if you're in your 70s or your 80s, I don't think necessarily it's smart to go to a crowded stadium. And I'll give you an example. My dad has season tickets to the Tennessee Titans. He's 75. And I had a conversation with him, and I said, hey, I don't know necessarily that it's worth the risk for you this fall, but I'm planning on taking my kids or me and my wife because you just look at the danger, and we're relatively young and healthy. But my dad got his tickets, got a refund or forwarded them on to the next year. I think if you're 75 or you're 80 years old, I don't think I would go. I think I'd probably just say, you know what, I'll watch it at home. But if you're young-ish and you are relatively healthy, I think it's crazy that you wouldn't go to a sporting event if ordinarily you would go. Now, there's a lot of you out there who say, well, I'd rather stay home and watch on television anyway, and I certainly understand that. But if you're relatively young and healthy, it's crazy to me that you wouldn't want to go to games, especially if you're like a college kid on a college campus. I hope they're going to have the bands. I hope they're going to have the cheerleaders. And I hope they're going to allow college kids to go to these games this fall. I think it's crazy that they wouldn't. Who's up next, Dub?
We got Byron in Texas.
Byron, would you go?
How you doing, guys? It's for me, it's a yes and a no, actually. And I'm a frequent of not just sporting events, concerts as well. So I'm ready for everything to come back. But I think it's just like the purchasing of a new video game console. I'll let the first group of guys go through them and buy them so they can get the bugs worked out.
So you might go by October or November, but you're not going to be there opening weekend in September.
I won't be there opening weekend, but I will be there in time to see my favorite colleges as well as NFL teams play and get in this thing. And I appreciate hearing a couple of the guys say they have their hand sanitizers and mask ready as well. So I want to see what the protocol is at the stadiums as well. So, but I will be attending.
Yeah, I think it's certainly. I think the Chiefs already said you have to wear a mask, but I don't actually think that's going to be that uncomfortable because I think people will wear team-sponsored masks, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if they're not giving out. You know, usually when you go, they might give out a T-shirt or a towel or something at an NFL game. I would think they'd give away masks for every game that they're going to have this year.
And at Raider games, me and my family, we all wear masks anyways.
Yeah, I'm wondering how that's going to play out, by the way, for Halloween. Because I'm already thinking ahead I love Halloween. You know, we usually have a big Halloween party at my house. My wife goes all out to decorate the house for Halloween. But everybody wears masks. So if every single person is wearing a mask for Halloween, can't kids go trick-or-treating?
Oh, I saw a few Corona bros on Twitter already trying to cancel Halloween.
Oh, I'm sure the Corona bros want Halloween canceled. But, I mean, if your kids are wearing masks, why can't they still trick-or-treat for Halloween, especially if they have gloves on otherwise?